Imagine waking up one morning and discovering you're a millionaire. Not because you won the lottery, not because you inherited a fortune, but because of a foreign currency you bought years ago for just a few $100s. It sounds unbelievable, but for nearly 2 decades, this exact dream has been promoted to thousands of people around the world. It's called the Iraqi Dinar Revaluation, often referred to as the RV. If you spend any time on YouTube or online forums, you've probably seen the headlines. It's happening this weekend. Banks are getting ready. This is the final update. The message is always the same. Wealth is just around the corner. But there's one question that deserves a closer look. If this prediction has been just days away for so many years, why hasn't it happened? Why do these predictions keep missing the mark? And why do so many people continue to believe that the next date will finally be the one? In this video, we'll examine where this story began, why it has lasted for so long, what the available evidence actually shows, and why it's important to verify financial claims before acting on them. Let's start at the beginning. To understand why so many people believe this idea, we need to go back to the early 2000s. After the 2003 Iraq War, Iraq faced enormous economic challenges. The country's infrastructure had been severely damaged, its financial system was under pressure, and the Iraqi dinar had lost much of its value compared with major international currencies. During this period, some investors began purchasing large amounts of Iraqi dinar because it was inexpensive to acquire. The idea sounded simple. If Iraq's economy recovered and its currency became significantly more valuable in the future, those holding large amounts of dinar could potentially make substantial profits. This possibility became widely known online as the Iraqi Dinar RV, short for revaluation. Over time, websites, online forums, social media groups, and YouTube channels began discussing the topic almost every day. Many claimed they had access to confidential banking contacts, government insiders, or secret financial information suggesting that a dramatic increase in the dinar's value was only days away. As months turned into years, those predictions continued. When one predicted date passed without any official change, another date was introduced. The cycle repeated again and again. At first glance, the story sounded believable because currencies can change in value over time and countries can rebuild after periods of conflict. The important question, however, isn't whether currencies can appreciate. The real question is whether the extraordinary claims surrounding the Iraqi dinar are supported by reliable, verifiable evidence. That's exactly what we'll examine next. Now that we understand where the story began, let's look at how these predictions continue year after year. The pattern is surprisingly consistent. It usually starts with a website, YouTube channel, or online community claiming to have access to exclusive information. The source may be described as a banking insider, a government official, or someone with confidential knowledge that isn't available to the public. The message is almost always the same. Something big is about to happen. At first, the prediction is often vague. It might be described as happening very soon or within days. As excitement builds, the predictions become more specific. A particular weekend, holiday, or month is presented as the most likely time for the long-awaited revaluation. People begin sharing the news with friends and family. Online discussions become more active and expectations grow. Then the predicted date arrives, and nothing happens. Under normal circumstances, repeated failed predictions would cause people to question the original claim. But in many cases, that's not what happens here. Instead, a new explanation appears. Perhaps political negotiations caused a delay. Maybe international banking procedures weren't completed. Or perhaps a last-minute decision pushed everything back. Whatever the explanation, it usually leads to one conclusion. The revaluation hasn't been canceled, it's only been delayed. Soon after, another prediction appears, often with a new date and another promise that the wait is almost over. The cycle begins again. This pattern has continued for many years. One reason it can be so convincing is that people naturally want to believe positive news, especially when they've already invested money, time, or hope into the idea. Psychologists have long studied how previous commitments can influence future decisions. When someone has invested emotionally or financially in a belief, it often becomes difficult to accept information that challenges it. That doesn't mean people are unintelligent or careless. It simply reflects how human psychology works. This is why it's important to separate hope from evidence. Reliable financial information is based on official announcements, transparent economic data, and verifiable sources, not anonymous insiders or predictions that continue to change after every missed deadline. And that raises an important question. If these extraordinary claims are real, what evidence actually supports them? Let's examine that next. So far, we've looked at how the prediction cycle works. Now, let's ask the most important question. What does the available evidence actually show? When it comes to the value of a country's currency, there are no shortcuts or hidden formulas. Currencies don't suddenly become dramatically more valuable because of rumors or anonymous online claims. Their value is influenced by real economic factors, including a country's economic performance, inflation, foreign trade, monetary policy, foreign currency reserves, political stability, and the confidence of international financial markets. These are measurable factors, not secret information. In Iraq's case, monetary policy is managed by the Central Bank of Iraq, while exchange rates and financial developments are closely monitored by governments, international financial institutions, and global currency markets. If a major currency revaluation were officially planned, it would almost certainly be reflected in public economic policy, official announcements, or widely reported financial news. It would not depend on anonymous bank insiders or private online chat groups revealing secret dates. This is where it's useful to apply a simple test. Instead of asking, "Could this happen someday?" ask, "Has the specific prediction actually happened?" For many years, countless videos, articles, and online posts have announced that a dramatic revaluation was only days or weeks away. Yet those predicted dates have repeatedly passed without the expected event taking place. That doesn't automatically prove every person discussing the topic is acting in bad faith. Some people genuinely believe the information they're sharing. Others may simply be repeating claims they've heard from someone else. But in finance, sincere belief is not the same as verifiable evidence. Extraordinary financial claims require strong, independently verifiable proof. Without that proof, they should be treated with caution rather than certainty. The goal isn't to discourage curiosity or dismiss every possibility. The goal is to separate facts from speculation. And once we do that, another important question naturally follows. If these predictions continue to fail, why do they continue to spread? And who benefits from keeping the story alive? Let's explore that in the next chapter. Whenever an extraordinary financial prediction continues for years without coming true, it's worth asking one simple question. Who benefits if people keep believing it? In today's online world, attention has real value. The more views a video receives, the more engagement it generates. More engagement can lead to advertising revenue, channel growth, sponsorship opportunities, memberships, and a loyal audience that returns for every new update. That's why some creators continue publishing frequent breaking news or urgent update videos, even when previous predictions never materialize. The audience doesn't have to become wealthy for the content to be profitable. The content only needs to keep people interested enough to watch the next video. In some cases, businesses and websites have also earned money by selling Iraqi Dinar, offering paid memberships, exclusive newsletters, or premium update groups centered around the same predictions. It's important to be clear here. This does not mean that everyone discussing the Iraqi dinar has dishonest intentions. Many people sincerely believe the information they share. Others may simply be repeating claims they've heard from sources they trust. Intentions can vary, and it's impossible to know what every individual believes. However, the overall pattern is worth paying attention to. When a prediction repeatedly fails but is replaced with a new explanation and a new timeline, the conversation never truly ends. Instead, the audience is encouraged to keep waiting for the next update. From a business perspective, this creates continuous engagement. From an investor's perspective, however, it can make it difficult to separate evidence from speculation. That's why the most important question isn't who said it. The more important question is, can a claim be independently verified through reliable and official sources? If the answer is no, then the claim should be approached with caution, regardless of how confident or convincing the speaker may sound. This brings us to the next part of the story. What have financial regulators and government agencies actually said about investment schemes involving foreign currencies like the Iraqi dinar? At this point, an important question remains. What do financial regulators say about investment claims like these? Over the years, several financial regulators have warned investors to be cautious of foreign currency investment schemes that promise extraordinary profits with little or no evidence. Organizations such as the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) and FINRA Financial Industry Regulatory Authority have published investor guidance explaining that claims of guaranteed, secret, or imminent financial windfalls should be approached with extreme caution. While these warnings are not limited to the Iraqi dinar, they highlight several common red flags that frequently appear in high-risk investment promotions. These warning signs often include promises of unusually large or guaranteed returns, claims based on anonymous insiders or confidential information, pressure to act quickly before a supposed deadline, predictions that cannot be independently verified, constantly changing timelines when earlier predictions fail. None of these signs automatically prove that a claim is fraudulent. However, they are reasons to slow down, ask questions, and verify the information before making any financial decision. Over the years, there have also been legal cases in the United States involving businesses and individuals accused of misleading customers while marketing foreign currencies, including the Iraqi dinar. The details of those cases differ, and not every seller or content creator has been accused of wrongdoing. That's why it's important not to make assumptions about any specific person without reliable evidence. Instead of focusing on individuals, it's more useful to understand the broader lesson. Financial regulators consistently encourage investors to rely on official information, regulated financial institutions, and independently verifiable evidence, not rumors, anonymous sources, or repeated predictions that continue to change over time. This isn't about discouraging people from investing. It's about encouraging informed decisions based on facts rather than speculation. Because when real money is involved, careful research isn't optional. It's essential. And behind every investment decision is something even more important than money: the people whose lives are affected by it. Let's look at that next. So far, we've talked about predictions, evidence, and financial warnings. But behind every investment decision is something far more important than numbers: people. For many individuals, buying Iraqi dinar wasn't about getting rich overnight out of greed. It was about hope. Hope for a better future. Hope for financial security. Hope of paying off debt, retiring comfortably, helping family members, or finally achieving goals that once seemed out of reach. Those hopes are real, and they deserve to be treated with respect. That's why this conversation isn't about mocking or judging anyone who believes these predictions. When someone repeatedly hears confident claims from people who appear knowledgeable, it's understandable why those claims can seem convincing. Unfortunately, when promised dates pass without the expected outcome, The consequences can be more than just disappointment. Some people continue waiting for years. Others invest additional money because they're told the opportunity is closer than ever. Some delay important financial decisions, believing that a life-changing event is just around the corner. Over time, hope can turn into frustration, and uncertainty can make it even harder to step back and ask difficult questions. This is exactly why financial education matters. The goal isn't to criticize people for believing something. The goal is to help people recognize the difference between evidence and expectation. Every investor, regardless of experience, can benefit from asking simple questions. Can this claim be verified through an official source? Is there independent evidence supporting it? What are the risks if the prediction never happens? These questions don't eliminate risk, but they can help people make better informed decisions. Because protecting your financial future isn't about chasing the most exciting story. It's about making decisions based on reliable information, careful research, and realistic expectations. And that leads us to the final and most practical question. If speculation isn't a reliable path to building wealth, what approaches have stood the test of time? Let's explore that next. After everything we've explored, one important question remains. If extraordinary predictions aren't a reliable investment strategy, what is? The truth is, building wealth usually isn't the result of one dramatic event. More often, it's the result of consistent, informed decisions made over time. While no investment is completely risk-free, history has shown that certain principles are far more reliable than chasing unverified predictions. The first is diversification. Rather than depending on a single investment to change your life, experienced investors often spread their money across different types of assets. This approach helps reduce risk if one investment performs poorly. The second is using regulated financial markets. Investing through licensed brokers, regulated exchanges, and recognized financial institutions provides greater transparency and accountability than relying on unofficial investment schemes or anonymous online advice. The third is verifying information before making financial decisions. Whenever you hear an extraordinary claim, ask yourself, can I confirm this through an official source? If the answer is no, it's worth taking a step back before making any financial commitment. Another important principle is long-term thinking. Financial success rarely happens overnight. Whether it's investing, saving, or building a business, meaningful results usually come from patience, discipline, and realistic expectations, not from promises of instant wealth. Finally, don't hesitate to seek professional financial advice when making major investment decisions. A qualified financial advisor can help you understand both the potential rewards and the risks based on your personal financial situation. These approaches may not sound as exciting as promises of becoming a millionaire overnight, but unlike constantly changing predictions, they're supported by decades of financial research and real-world experience. At the end of the day, the strongest investment isn't built on hope alone. It's built on knowledge, careful planning, and decisions backed by reliable evidence. And that brings us to the final message of this video. Let's go back to the question we asked at the beginning of this video. Why do Iraqi Dinar revaluation predictions keep failing? Yet so many people continue to believe they're just around the corner. The answer isn't as simple as many people think. At its core, this story isn't just about currency. It's about hope. The hope of achieving financial freedom. The hope of giving your family a better future. And the hope that one life-changing opportunity could solve years of financial struggles. Those hopes are completely understandable. But when money is involved, hope should always be matched with evidence. Throughout this video, we've examined how these predictions are made, why the same cycle continues, what official information tells us, and why independent verification is so important. The goal wasn't to tell you what to believe. It was to encourage you to ask better questions before making important financial decisions. So the next time you hear someone confidently predicting a major financial event, take a moment and ask yourself, can this claim be verified through official, reliable, and independent sources? If the answer is yes, take the time to review the evidence carefully. If the answer is no, that's a good reason to be cautious before acting. Critical thinking is one of the most valuable financial skills anyone can develop. It won't make you rich overnight, but it can help protect you from costly mistakes. If you found this video informative, consider sharing it with someone who may benefit from it. And if you enjoy evidence-based documentaries that separate facts from speculation, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future content. Thank you for watching. Stay curious, stay informed, and always verify before you trust. This video is provided for educational and informational purposes only. It should not be considered financial, investment, or legal advice. Always conduct your own research and consult a qualified financial professional before making investment decisions.